Attention passionate Cleveland, BROWNS FANS. Latest news, something big is happening in the AFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Cleveland Browns' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Cleveland BROWNS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been paying close attention to what's been happening around the Cleveland Browns lately, you've probably noticed that the team has been quite active in reshaping their roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And honestly, that's no coincidence. The Browns, coming off a promising season, are clearly positioning themselves to make a serious push this year, and their recent moves reflect a strategic focus on bolstering that formidable defense. With the NFL season already underway, every single move counts, and Cleveland's front office is showing they're not messing around. Leading up to the Week 2 matchup against the Baltimore Ravens, a division rival that's always tough, always competitive, the Browns have been making some notable roster adjustments. On Tuesday, they signed defensive tackle Ralph Holley to their practice squad. This move might seem minor on the surface, but remember, adding depth along the defensive line is a clear signal of their intent. The Browns have one of the most talented defenses in the league, but depth is always key, especially as injuries and fatigue start to creep in as the season progresses. Holley, a guy who's been around the league, brings some physicality and size that could prove useful down the stretch. At the same time, Cleveland decided to part ways with running back Trayveon Williams. While it might seem like a routine roster change, it underscores how focused they are on fine-tuning their squad, especially on defense. The Browns, like many NFL teams, are always balancing between keeping their core intact and testing new talent that might step up when needed. Sometimes, moving on from a player like Williams is about creating space for someone who fits better into the team's evolving game plan. But the most intriguing move came from the defensive side. According to NFL insider Aaron Wilson, Cleveland has signed former Dallas Cowboys defensive end KJ Henry to their practice squad. Now, if you're a Browns fan, you probably recognize Henry's name from last year's NFL draft. He was a fifth-round pick by the Washington Commanders in 2023, but he didn't quite make the final roster last season. Instead, he was claimed off waivers by the Bengals, and that's where he got some NFL action, making a few appearances and logging a total of 3 tackles and a sack. Henry's journey has been quite a roller coaster. After his time with the Bengals, he spent some time with the Cowboys, who signed him but then waived him. He also had a stint with the Philadelphia Eagles before being waived again this offseason. Despite all that movement, Henry has shown resilience. He's had experience with multiple teams, and that kind of adaptability can be a real asset. Cleveland bringing him back to their practice squad suggests they see potential in him, especially given their current defensive depth chart. Now, it's important to remember that Henry has only played in a handful of NFL games, just 4 last season between the Bengals and the Patriots, and his stats include a sack, which is always a good sign for a pass rusher. But his path to the field with the Browns isn't going to be easy. The defense they've built is really solid, with veterans and young talents alike, and they're committed to maintaining that high level of play. Still, adding a player like Henry keeps their options open, especially if injuries strike or if they want to rotate fresh bodies in the pass rush. What's really interesting about this move is the pattern it reveals. The Browns are clearly prioritizing their defense, especially the pass rush, which has been a key focus for them. Last season, their defense was among the best in many categories, but there's always room for improvement, especially in terms of depth and rotational players. The AFC North is a division that's known for physical, hard-fought games, and if Cleveland can keep their defensive line fresh and aggressive, it could make all the difference when facing opponents like Baltimore or Cincinnati. Speaking of the Ravens, the upcoming game is shaping up to be a real test for Cleveland. Baltimore has one of the most dynamic offenses in the league, led by Lamar Jackson, and their running game can be relentless. Cleveland's defense will need to be at its best, pressure on Jackson, disciplined coverage, and maintaining that edge at the line of scrimmage. The Browns' defensive front, now bolstered by players like Holly and potentially more contributions from Henry, will be key. They've already shown they can get after the quarterback, and this game could be a showcase of just how disruptive Cleveland's defense can be when firing on all cylinders. But let's not forget the broader picture here. The Browns aren't just focused on one game. Their roster moves signal a long-term vision, building a defense that can contend not just this season but for years to come. Their front office, led by General Manager Andrew Berry, has been patient and strategic, making moves that might not always be headline-grabbing but are crucial for sustained success. The addition of players like KJ Henry, who has some NFL experience but still has room to grow, is part of that puzzle. They're investing in young talent, giving themselves options, and trying to find that perfect mix of veteran savvy and youthful energy. Now, as we look at the season ahead, the expectations for Cleveland are high, especially after last year's performance. They finished with a strong record and showed they could compete with some of the best teams in the league. The defense was a big part of that success, and the organization clearly wants to keep that momentum going. The offensive side of the ball also looks promising, with Deshaun Watson back and healthy, ready to lead the charge. But it's that defense, that relentless, physical, and versatile unit, that could truly define their season. If they can stay healthy and continue to execute at a high level, they're definitely playoff contenders. And speaking of the team's recent history, Cleveland has been building steadily over the past few seasons. Coming out of a period of rebuilding, they've now become a team that's not just competing but aiming for deep playoff runs. Their defense has been a cornerstone, especially with players like Myles Garrett leading the charge. Garrett, who's considered one of the premier pass rushers in the league, will be vital in disrupting opposing offenses. His presence alone commands attention from offensive lines, freeing up teammates and creating opportunities for turnovers and sacks. The addition of more depth on the defensive line, like Henry and Holly, only amplifies that pressure. Now, if we zoom out a bit, it's clear that the AFC North is one of the most competitive divisions in the NFL. You've got Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland all vying for supremacy. Each team has its strengths, but Cleveland's recent moves suggest they're not just trying to keep pace, they want to set the pace. They're aiming to be the toughest, most disciplined, and most dynamic team in the division. The focus on their defense, especially their pass rush, is a testament to that mindset. And if they can execute that game plan effectively in the coming weeks, the division could see a real shakeup. The fans are excited, and rightly so. Cleveland has been patient, and now it feels like they're planting the seeds for something bigger. The roster is evolving, the coaching staff is pushing for excellence, and the players are motivated. This season could be a turning point. The AFC North is always a battleground, but Cleveland's recent roster moves, including signing KJ Henry to the practice squad, show they're ready to fight for every inch. They understand that every game, every play counts. The season is long and the journey is tough, but if they stay healthy and disciplined, the Browns could very well be in the mix come playoff time. And that's what makes following the Browns so exciting this year. The potential is there, the talent is there, and the team's focus is clear. They want to be champions, and every move, every game gets them closer to that goal. It's a season full of promise, challenges, and opportunities. And as always, Cleveland fans are right there in the middle of it all, cheering loudly, believing in their team, and hoping for that elusive Super Bowl victory. The road to glory is never easy, but with the right pieces falling into place, the Browns might just surprise everyone. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YOUTUBE algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So in summary, Cleveland's recent roster moves, especially the signing of KJ Henry to the practice squad, highlight their ongoing efforts to strengthen a defense that's been a cornerstone of their success. The focus on depth, young talent, and strategic signings shows they're serious about making a deep playoff run, maybe even challenging for the division and beyond. The upcoming game against Baltimore will be a real test, but if Cleveland's defense can bring their best, they can definitely make a statement. The season is just getting started, and everything looks promising for this Browns team. So, Browns fans, keep the faith, stay tuned, and get ready for an exciting ride. The best is yet to come. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news.